Well, so I will take you through this slide of descriptive research. Descriptive research includes fact-finding inquiries of different kinds, such as what, why, when, who, how, and all other things you can include in this. Okay, so the main aim of this research is description of the state of affairs as it exists at present. Okay, so you will just report what it is. As a part of descriptive research, you will just report what it is, how it is, about a given particular phenomenon or concept at present as it is. We will not change that. You just report the facts. That is what is descriptive research is about. The researcher has no control over the variables, only have to report what is happening or what has happened. Okay, so a researcher may look at various variables, but he doesn't have any control on that. He has to just report as it is what is happening. For description, researchers generally use frequencies, averages, and other statistical calculations. So in this type of studies, you may make use of statistical tools, but that is just to report the facts. The methods by which you can perform the descriptive research include the surveys of all kind, survey methods of all kind, which are of comparative as well as correlational type. Now, this is what is descriptive research. In nutshell, descriptive research is about description of some concept, and it's like a fact-finding inquiry. Okay, it is also known as sometimes exploratory research. Like you explore about some concept. You are trying to learn, understand about that concept. Okay, so that is what is a descriptive research. Now, typical example, all of you know periodic table categorizing the elements available. So it just reports there are so many elements along with their molecular weights and other required parameters. But it is just a report wherein it is all the information about all available materials is tabulated. Okay, so that is description is given about what are the materials available or elements available in the nature. Okay, so that is just fact-finding information which is given to us, and that is what is example of descriptive research. Another very simple example I would like to mention about descriptive research is like now you know IPL matches. Okay, in IPL matches, you know there are various franchises who purchase a team. Okay, now when they purchase a team, they invest lots of money on that particular team. So obviously they involve some consultancy firms which perform research of different kinds. Okay, so one of the kind of research performed by these firms is descriptive research. Now what is the descriptive research they perform? Like for example, there is a batsman, there is a bowler, and they want to actually know about what is the standing of that particular player in comparison to other players. Okay, so they will find out his strike rate. Obviously, depending upon whether he is a bowler or batsman, they will find. I will take example of say batsman. Okay, so how many centuries he has scored, how many 50s he has scored, how many times he has been instrumental in winning a particular game, right? At what place he has played a big role. What is his strike rate? Okay, and yeah, because these IPL matches are like sort of batsman oriented matches wherein batsman can explode at any point of time. What is its explosion quotient? When can that particular batsman can explode in the sense hit sixes and fours? Okay, so all that data is just recorded, and all that data is recorded about all the players. Okay, and this particular say data information is given to another set of researchers which will actually analyze that data. Okay, so the set of people who are involved in just capturing this type of data are performing nothing but the descriptive research. Are you with me in this? Is that fine? Yeah. So that is what is descriptive research. Like this, in engineering or in your technical field, you will find some concept, and there are papers, there are people, researchers, who explain that concept from very start and report all the facts, all the established facts about that concepts by different researchers till date in that particular paper, and that paper becomes a descriptive research. Okay, so I hope I have given sufficient understanding about what is meaning of descriptive research, and we will move on to now something called as analytical research. Okay, so let us understand this analytical research first, and then we will discuss with one or two examples. Okay, so this research involves mainly carrying out analysis on a phenomena using available data. So data is available, and you are performing some analysis on a particular phenomenon. You want to understand what are the implications of that. The aim of this research is to understand phenomena by discovering and measuring causal relations among the variables. Okay, so you try to establish what is the relation between very different variables, which generally we call them as dependent and independent variables. Okay, we find out what are the dependent variables and what are the independent variables for a given concept, and then we try to establish what is the relation. We plot graphs, we may come up with some equation. So all those things will be part and parcel of analytical research. The researchers use facts or information readily available to them and analyze these to make a critical evaluation of context. Yeah, so any difficulty? Piyush, why you have unmuted yourself? Yeah, roll number 24, Piyush. Mute yourself. You want to ask some question? Well, so what I was saying is that the researchers use facts or information readily available to them and analyze these to make a critical evaluation of the context. This is very important. So it's like analytical research is typically performed to evaluate the things. It works within the constant variables and tries to explain existing state of affairs from the available data. Okay, that is pretty straightforward and understood. The example is how to improve system efficiency. Now, if you have, there are various kinds of systems. If you look at renewable energy, you have wind turbines, you have solar systems, you have hybrid systems. Or if you look at our vehicles, you have different kinds of engines. Or the overall, what is the overall efficiency of different types of engines? We have different types of fuels. On the basis of fuels, we have different types of engines. So I'm talking about a system, how to improve efficiency of a system. So in order to do that, you will do some parametric analysis on the basis of available data. You will try to establish causal relations between among the dependent and independent variables, and then come up with the solution about how to improve system efficiency, or you can say make critical evaluation of that. Okay, so that can be a typical example of analytical research. Or in the context of example which I gave in terms of say IPL. In the previous slide, I told you the researchers who are involved into gathering the information about players and their statistics, they are involved into descriptive research. But now there is another team of researchers who will actually process that data, and then they will make some critical decision on the basis of their evaluation, that who is potentially going to be part of your team. Okay, and why. They will give some reasons, they will give some reasoning why that particular player could be part of your team. And then they will have a team of players like this, and then they will actually analyze whether this is a winning team or not, and accordingly they will come up with a final winning team according to their statistical analysis, and then they say that yeah, we are going to purchase these players, or we are going to what to say, buy these particular players when it when and as and when it happens. Okay, so here there are typically you can say the previous case they were just acquiring data, it was just descriptive research. Now on the basis of that available data, you are making a decision whether to purchase a player or not, and who can be in your team. These decisions are based on the processing that data and analyzing that data, and that is nothing but analytical research. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you guys. Any questions you can ask in between if you have any questions. Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide. Now, next one is applied research. Okay, so applied research aims at finding a solution for an immediate problem facing a society or an industrial business organization. Okay, so typically we are the whole world is facing a typical problem of COVID-19 pandemic nowadays, and everybody is trying to find out what is the solution to this. There are researchers who are trying to find out a vaccine, and there are business organizations, pharmaceutical businesses, who are trying to launch their vaccine as early as possible to the market, and the whole government machinery is trying to find out solutions so that they can save people in general. Okay, so this is, and he in this case they are actually trying to apply established formulae in and then yeah, Ruchit, you are not supposed to do annotation. Huh? Don't do annotation. Archit. Okay, so nice artwork by Archit. We have. I hope everybody can see this.
सॉरी सर तो गलती से स्टार्ट हो गया
हाँ, but then गलती से start हुआ तो इतना सारा नहीं होगा ना. You have done so much. Very nice. That's fine.
वो कैंसिल कर स्क्रॉल कर रहा था तो
हाँ,
स्क्रॉल
हाँ,
के जगह लाइन
अच्छा अच्छा, ओके ओके, ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम, नो प्रॉब्लम. Yeah, but then it appears that you are with me here. Okay, so applied research is related to finding a solution for immediate problem which is faced by the society, and I gave the example of COVID-19 pandemic here. The central aim of applied research is to discover a solution for some pressing practical problem. Okay, so this I could have explained what is the pressing practical problem if it had been only faculty discussion here. Anyways, there are other things I can mention about this. It is also known as action research. Here you cannot wait for years to wait for solution. No, you need to act very fast and show some results, and in such a way that it will solve the problem. Designed to solve problem of modern world, then acquire knowledge. Okay, so that is what it is. Then we have, I have mentioned here example of treat or cure a specific disease. Okay, so I give you example of COVID-19 for this. That is what is applied research. So in all these pharmaceutical companies, what they are doing is that they are trying to apply the available chemical formulae to come up with the kind of vaccine which will be applied to COVID-19. Okay, without going into much descriptive and analytical research as such. And they are trying to find out immediate solution for this. Okay, so hope it is clear. Next is fundamental research, which is one of the very important kind of research, because this particular research drives all other kinds of research. That may be a very big statement, but that is what is the fact. So why I am saying that, I will let you know about that. Mainly concerned with generalizations. Fundamental research is mainly concerned with generalizations and with formulation of a theory. Okay, so that is what is very important thing. Here, theoretical knowledge is formulated and established as well acceptable knowledge. Okay, so that is what is done under fundamental research. It is directed towards finding information that has a broad base of applications. Okay, it is not a specific concept oriented. It is trying to have a broad base. The fundamental research is performed for the intellectual pleasure of learning, and it has no commercial value attached to the discoveries that result from the basic research. Okay, so it is not performed for the commercial value. If there may be a commercial value may be unlocked from the fundamental research, but it will happen over the a long period of time. It's not like you just come up with some concept, you do your research and launch that product in the market. Okay, so that doesn't come under fundamental research as such. Typical examples are research concerning some natural phenomenon or relating to pure mathematics. Okay, so this is what is comes under fundamental research. Like what are the natural phenomenon? Then you can mention about the gravitational of this thing, law of gravity. It's a natural phenomenon. Okay, but then it was not known before Newton. It was there, but Newton could formulate it, and we are what do you say, using it in all our calculations every time. Gravity is one of the typical what do you say, force whenever you consider different types of forces. So it has what do you say, application base across the disciplines. It's not only in mechanical engineering. Okay, so natural phenomena, he has established say laws of motions also. Then if we look at thermodynamic laws, these are like fundamental research. Okay, or relating to pure mathematics, like in mathematics there is lots of what do you say, abstraction happens. Like it's like on the mental plane, you are not in a position to actually see what is a mathematician can see. Like in your sixth semester or somewhere, you might have heard about eigenvalues. Okay, so these eigenvalues are considered as the roots of any equation as such. Okay, or solution of that particular problem. But then there are many eigenvalues, and to understand how they are correlated, what is their significance, if you plot them, it is very difficult to understand what is the real meaning of eigenvalues. It requires lots of contemplation. It requires lots of abstract thinking to understand eigenvalues. You can do that. Okay, so that is another typical example of that. So fundamental research can be carried out, our research carried on with a view to make generalizations. Okay, so that is what comes under fundamental research. Like for example, when you are formulating a theory, the theory should be applicable to like broad base of the applications. Okay, so that's what is meaning of generalization. Is it applicable to all? Like for example, now I will give examples of classical theory and theory of everything. Now you might have heard about that theory of everything. Okay, so the Newtonian concepts, what we study in our engineering, these are applicable to only inertial frame of Earth. Okay, these things can be applied to solve a problem when it is on Earth. But once it is out of Earth and it is in space somewhere, then there are different kind of equations are applied there. That is known as theory of relativity by Einstein. Okay, but then there is a big difference between these two theories. Okay, so theory of Newtonian theory of gravitational concepts, and then we have Einstein theory of relativity, and they are applied at different places, right? So can we find a theory which can combine both things, like which can be applied on the local problems on Earth, as well as the same theory could be applied to the problems in cosmology or astronomy as such, or in general everywhere in the universe? Okay, so people are trying to find out these kind of theories. Okay, so these are known as one of the what do you say, attempt was something called as string theory. Okay, so string theory was considered as potential theory of all, but again it is proved the further research in the string theory says that it is not that what do you say, promising. So people are working on quantum mechanics now. Okay, so that is quite promising, and it is taking us to big things. Let's see, but still it is open. It is not yet formulated. So these are the fundamental research things. Quantitative research is the next type of research. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. So quantitative research is based on measurement of quantity or amount. So here we talk in numbers. Okay. So when you talk about a variable, what is the amount of that variable? So that is straightforward. It is the case. It is applicable to phenomena that can be expressed in terms of quantity. Okay. So you can express some phenomena in terms of quantity. Let me think about an example wherein we can say this. Used to quantify the problem by way of generating numerical data or data that can be transformed into usable statistics. Okay, so this is typically used in formulating insurance policies. Actually, you might be buying, or your parents might be buying life insurance as well as, say, medical insurance policies. Okay, so how do they actually come up with this? Or many of you might have heard about statistics in this capital markets, share market. So all this data will be used, and the all processes gone into it are called quantitative research. Quantitative research uses measurable data to formulate facts and uncover patterns in the research. Like typically in a share market, for example, what is the next? What is going to be the next moment of the market? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down, or is it going to stay marginally in the along about the same price? Maybe after 1 hour, after 10 minutes, after 5 minutes. Okay, and there are something called as algo trading. These algorithms have been developed to predict what is the market moment in next 5 minutes, or less than that also. As soon as there is a slight change as per the prediction, they will just exit a particular transaction, or they will enter into a transaction, and they the algorithms are taking care of this entry and exit of these particular transactions which are happening in the share market. Okay, so it happens with the speed because algorithm is doing that, right? And they're quite accurate also. The people are investing crores of rupees through algo trading. Okay, so that is also there, and all these things are possible under quantitative research. The data collection methods include various forms of surveys, and these are online surveys, paper surveys, mobile surveys, kiosk surveys, face-to-face interviews, telephone interviews, online polls, systematic observations. All these come under quantitative research. Very crude example of quantitative research I can say is that suppose I collect a feedback about our today's lecture through if I share one Google Sheet, which I'm going to share tomorrow after the tomorrow's lecture. Okay, so if you respond to these questions on the basis of some number, that is, and I can draw from these numbers how effective my lecture was. That is what is nothing but quantitative research. A very crude example, you can say. Well, next one is qualitative research. Qualitative research is concerned with qualitative phenomena that involves quality or kind. Okay, so it talks about what is the general trend about something. Okay, so it doesn't look into numbers. It just sees the trend, the way it is moving. Like for example, when you can say in 2014 elections of India, there was people say there was a big wave of Narendra Modi. Okay, but then it was like a qualitative understanding of that. People don't know how many people were in favor of Narendra Modi and how many were favor in other parties. There is no quantitative analysis of that. But qualitatively, we say yes, there was a wave, there was the environment and atmosphere created by Mr. Narendra Modi, and which culminated into becoming his prime minister. Okay, so that is the trend, you can say, quality related to quality. Qualitative research is primarily exploratory research. So it had come in previous discussions. What is the meaning of exploratory? Here, exploration means you don't know anything about a particular phenomenon. You don't know anything about a particular concept. So you try to find out what it is. That is exploratory. Okay, so in that sense, this qualitative research could be clubbed to some extent with descriptive research, used to gain an understanding of underlying reasons, opinions, and motivations. Okay, so that is pretty straightforward. Provides insights into the problem or helps to develop ideas or hypotheses for potential quantitative research. Okay, so this is very important. So after qualitative research, it steps up, what to say, or it sets the ground for quantitative research. Some common methods include focus groups, group discussions, and okay, so meeting will end in 10 minutes, and I think I have only one slide to go, one or two slides to go. I hope I will be in a position to complete the last slide may not be possible, but at least we will be in a position to complete all types of research, what we are going to cover under this particular course. So let me finish this qualitative research. Some common methods include focus groups, group discussion, individual interviews, and participation or behavior. Like for example, in your placements, you might be going through group discussions, and there some say idea might be given to you, and there may be different groups which are contemplating on that, and generally observers see what is the trend of that discussion is going on, in what direction it is going on. Okay, so that is type of qualitative research, and through that discussion the observer finds that who is the contributing factor in that, and what is its contribution, how is going to, how that particular uh, what is it participant is taking other people along with him. Okay, so that all those things are observed by the observer from the company, and he makes his remarks, but all these remarks are on like of sort of quality. There is no quantification of that. Finally, we are at last type of research, that is empirical research. It is also called as experimental research, and this is very important to say type of research. Why, I will tell you in the last statement it is mentioned there, but I will take you through the slide here. Empirical or experimental research relies on experience or observation alone. This is very important. So you don't make any prediction. There is no guesswork. You just rely on what is the experimental data says. What is the observation? Under what conditions these observations were made, and what comes out of that particular data. Okay, so experimental or empirical research relies on that only, often without due regard for system and theory. Okay, so they don't worry about other things as far as what is the theory behind it says, what is what type of system it is, but then the data which is observed is the basis for empirical research. Database research, coming up with conclusions which are capable of being verified by observation or experiment. Okay, so this is also possible, and I think as a part of your project, you may also end up in fabricating something. Before fabrication, you may simulate, and whatever the simulated data, you will be in a position to, or you will endeavor to prove it by performing some experiment. Okay, so if experimental data matches with your simulation data, you can say whatever you have proposed is acceptable. Yeah, because it is supported by the facts now. So empirical research establishes the facts, and therefore it is more valued. If you want to publish any paper in any journal, it should include some component about experimentation. In such a research, the researcher must find, or researcher must provide himself with a working hypothesis or guess as to the probable results. So here he may think in mind, this should happen, this way it will happen, or there is a hypothesis. Okay, and he or she performs the experiment in order to prove that hypothesis, and the hypothesis is proved if experimental data matches with the predicted data or probable results according to the researcher. He then works to get enough facts to prove or disprove his hypothesis, and this is what happens in scientific world. they keep on hypothesizing something, and the researcher who proposes that hypothesis, he will try to find out facts and figures to prove his hypothesis, and there are a group of researchers who are going to disprove it. But ultimately, due to this exercise of proving and disproving, it ends up in such a way that the hypothesis is proved or it is disproved. If it is proved, then we get a new knowledge. If it is disproved, the false knowledge is removed. Okay, so that is what is the way research grows and our scientific knowledge grows. He then sets up experimental designs which he thinks will manipulate the persons or the materials concerned so as to bring forth the desired information. Okay, so again, experimental design is going to be part of your this course. There may be somebody who will touch upon this design of experiments, but let's see how it goes. Evidence gathered through experiments or empirical studies is today considered to be most powerful support for a possible grant of, let me just, yeah, so most powerful support possible for a
Sir,
given hypothesis.
Sir, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Pradeep, sir. Sir, how many
sir.
minutes are there?
Sir, 4 minutes are there, and I have only one slide, but I will not be in a position to complete that slide. So
correct, sir. Sir, I do agree. Sir, you have to tell them that we are going to give the papers to them. So they have to study.
Okay. So
that can you cover it, sir? Yes.
Yeah. So I will stop here then as far as the presentation is concerned. Now, students, once you understand what are different types of research are there, another activity which you can perform throughout this week, by the time we will take you through remaining part of introductory concepts, is that we will share with you some papers. Okay, I have shortlisted some papers, and I have already given these papers to your guides or the professors in general. They will share with you. Okay, so whatever the paper you get, you are required to go through that, and your group, I'm saying, group of the students who are working in a project, they are supposed to go through that paper. Every group will get one paper. Okay, so they will go through that paper and they will let us know as an activity what kind of research that paper talks about, like whether it is a descriptive research, whether it is an analytical research, applied, quantitative, qualitative, or empirical research. Okay, so that activity is required to be performed. And then with the same papers, next time we will talk about whether it is inductive, deductive, what is the approach, what is the methodology used by the authors in the same papers. Okay, so that activity is going to be performed. I think Dr. Rao, if you want to add to this, you can go ahead.
No,
I think
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, so that's what we decided, no?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So
they're supposed to do this exercise in the next class.
I think in this week they can do, and next week after a presentation they can present their results, no? Or during this,
because they are getting this time. They are getting in the next class. What is it they are going to present it?
Yeah. That's fine.
Hardly you may get for 1 hour for the presentation. Yeah. So the rest of the 1 hour is for the discussions and the group discussions.
Yeah. So I will have to modify my presentation accordingly. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
So
it's
excellent. I enjoyed a lot.
Really. Okay.
Really, it's excellent. From the starting onwards, it is a new learning for me. Frankly, I'm telling.
Oh, sir, you are saying that, so it's like great compliment to me actually.
Because I enjoyed.
Okay,
the initial slides are so interesting, fantastic. I would like to say.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Actually, I wanted to put a set a base. Why we want to go into research?
But when you're talking about several theories now, so how thorough research you have done it for this presentation?
Okay, thank you for your appreciation, sir. I will be happy to get some appreciation from the students, but now not now through feedback.
Sure, they will get it. They will get
Yeah. So we have less than 1 minute to go. All other faculties are also welcome to express their views directly now, or you can send me a mail, whatever the way, or you can call me and give me the feedback so that we can improve the presentation afterwards. So